Hello, I'm Who Are We, and today we address a critical contemporary issue in coastal fisheries management by examining a 2025 study by Roser et al. Titled Getting Scarce and Lures Shy, Impacts of Recreational Fishing on Coastal Northern Pike, or Esox lucius, Abundance, Size Structure, and Vulnerability to Angling. This study moved beyond control lab settings to ask a fundamental question. Does intensive recreational angling create observable systematic impacts on pike populations in the wild, specifically in coastal environments? The researchers investigated the simultaneous effects of fishing on pike abundance, their size structure, and critically, their behavioral vulnerability, a phenomenon often termed angling-induced timidity. The methodology: protected area contrast. The study was conducted in the brackish lagoons around the German island of Rügen in the southern Baltic Sea, a highly popular area for pike fishing. The core of the methodology was a comparative study design using three pairs of areas: partially marine protected areas, PMPAs, sites with no or substantially reduced recreational fishing pressure, and open access sites, OA, nearby sites with open access to licensed recreational fish anglers. These sites within each pair were selected to be ecologically similar in terms of habitat characteristics such as salinity, temperature, oxygen concentration, and microphyte coverage. Commercial fishing, primarily through gill nets, was present in both PMPAs and OA sites, allowing the researchers to isolate the effects of recreational angling. The researchers tested three main hypotheses using two primary sampling gears: angling CPUEs, catch per unit effort by experimental lure angling, used as a primary index of fish abundance and behavioral reactivity, and gillnet CPUEs, catches from benthic multi-mesh gillnets, used as a secondary, potentially less biased index of relative abundance. The key findings were reduced abundance. The study provided strong evidence that recreational fishing significantly reduces pike abundance. Angling catch rates. Angling CPUE was drastically lower in open access sites. Model predicted angling CPUE was 3.9 times higher than in PMPAs than in OAs. Over the entire study period, 81% of all pike captured were caught in the protected PMPA sites. Gillnet catch rates. To decouple abundance from potential behavioral effects, spring gill netting data was used. Gillnet CPUE was also significantly higher in protected areas, averaging 2.1 times higher in PMPAs than in OAs. The consistency of reduced abundance indicated both sampling gears strongly suggest that recreational fishing systematically reduced pike abundance in open sites, likely due to combined harvest by both recreational and commercial fisheries. 3. Key findings: angling-induced timidity, or lure shyness. The study's most significant contribution is the documentation of angling-induced timidity in a wild, heavily fished population. A. Reduced reactivity to lures. The attack rate, likelihood of a pike attacking after being attracted to lure, was significantly lower in open access sites, where P was equal to 0.015. Pike in protected areas were 2.17 times more likely to attack a lure that caught their attention than pike in open sites. Pike in open access sites had a 77.2% probability of attacking a lure compared to 88.8% for pike in PMPAs, suggesting they were significantly more cautious. Reduced landing rates. The landing rate proportion of fish captured after striking a lure was also significantly lower in OAs, where X2 equals 3.92, where P equals 0.048, meaning pike were 1.51 times more likely to be landed in PMPAs after striking a lure than in OAs. Again, OA means open access, so you guys follow along here, whereas a P is private. This suggests that open access sites may ingest lures more aggressively, potentially testing whether the lure is actual prey before fully committing, thereby increasing their chance of escape. C. Quantifying the timidity effect. The angling catch rate's decline, 3.9 lower in open access sites, was stronger than the gillnet catch rate decline, 2.1 times lower in open access. This suggests that approximately 1/3 of the lower angling catches in open sites may have been attributed to angling-induced timidity, or lure shyness, a phenomenon previously shown in controlled experiments, but now confirmed in the wild. This timidity is thought to be a result of learning and/or selection and evolution shaping exploited stocks. 4. Key findings. Size structure truncation. The effects of fishing on the size structure were generally weaker but still evident, particularly at the trophy level. Mean length. Mean total length did not consistently differ between OAs and PMPA sites across all areas, possibly due to fishing mortality being insufficient to severely truncate the size structure, or compensatory growth occurring in exploited sites due to relaxed density dependence. Trophy size. However, the protected areas clearly hosted a larger fraction of trophy-sized pike. The 90th percentile length, L90, was 97.6 centimeters in PMPAs versus 92.6 in OAs. Pike in PMPAs were 2.1 times more likely to exceed the area-specific L90 than in OAs, indicating that recreational fishing truncated the size structure of the largest individuals. Conclusion and management implications. The work by Roser et al. Provides compelling evidence that recreational fishing exploitation of coastal pike causes simultaneously three-pronged effect: reduced abundance, truncation of the largest size classes, and fishery-induced timidity. Timidity is a real-world problem. The timidity effect is substantial, possibly comparable to the scale to the abundance reducing impact of harvest, and must be considered by managers, especially as lure shyness can bias surveys that rely on angling data. Management tools. To protect pike populations and maintain angler satisfaction, managers should consider a combination of tools that address both abundance and behavior. Effort control. Reducing exposure to lures through rotating closures rather than static ones to allow fish time to recover their vulnerability. Harvest limits. Implementing harvest slot limits and other restrictions. Example, maximum mesh sizes to maintain large reproductively valuable fish in the stock. Protection of large fish. Continued use of no-take or partial protection areas is necessary to allow vulnerable pike to remain and reproduce, thereby increasing the chance for reactive fish to colonize open sites. The long-term success of pike fishing is dependent on managing this complex interplay between exploitation and behavior. I want to thank you all for watching. There is a systematic approach to fishing for pike in the description. If you want more scientific research on pikes, go check it out. And this is a great researcher, by the way. I'm looking through his studies and I'm just amazed. I mean, it's a gold mine, so please go check him out. Particularly, I really like Robert Arlinghaus. He's incredible. But anyways, thank you.